What 3 trades could the Pelicans get for Zion? We'll let you know. The NBA playoffs are currently on, and the New Orleans Pelicans were able to win their play-in tournament games in order to make it to the 8th seed in the Western Conference. That, for the record, was the good news. The bad news is that they are playing the dominant Phoenix Suns, who beat up on them in the first game, and aren't expecting to let up. Plus, Zion Williamson is still very much out currently, and as such, trade rumors are flying, with some stating that 3 could be viable in the offseason. We'll show what they have. Number 4, the New York Knicks. We're going to name each team and then give you the potential trade deals here, okay? So first, we have the New York Knicks, and here's how the rumored trade could go down. New Orleans Pelicans receive forward Obi Toppin, guard Alec Burks, 2022 first-round pick, 2023 first-round pick, 2024 first-round pick, 2025 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick. The New York Knicks receive forward Zion Williamson. As some like to joke, you might refer to this as a Harden kind of trade, as in James Harden. But not when he went to the 76ers, but rather when he went to the Nets. Because in that trade, the Nets gave the Houston Rockets a lot of draft picks in order to get Harden, and the Knicks might try such a deal. They're parting with a total of 6 picks or pick swaps in this exchange, which is 1 less than the Rockets received for Harden. The Beard was an in-prime superstar without a laundry list of injury concerns, so thus why this trade is a bit tricky at best. With so many questions surrounding Williamson's future, his value is slightly depreciated. Plus, the Pelicans are receiving a promising young player at the same position in Obi Toppin. There is risk involved for both sides in this exchange. As painful as it is to say, the Knicks can't be sure that Williamson will ever overcome his health problems. They're potentially trading away their future for a handful of magic beans here. Meanwhile, there's always a risk incurred in acquiring draft picks. If Williamson does become the player he has the potential to be, all of these picks have a strong likelihood of landing outside of the lottery, which would obviously make the trade even riskier, as Pelicans would have to hope the Knicks do poorly consistently, not an odd ask given the last 2 decades, in order to make the most of their trade. Irony, of course, is that the Knicks are in a bit of a desperation play currently, as the Nets have outshined them in getting the big-name players as of late. And if they don't make a play for someone soon, they could further shrink into obscurity. But whether Zion is that must-have player still is a bit up in the air, hence the riskiness of it all. Number 3, Houston Rockets. Surprise! We honestly talked about them, and now we're talking about the Houston Rockets again. Almost like this was planned ahead of time. Either way, here's the rumored trade breakdown. New Orleans Pelicans receive center Alperen Sengun, center Christian Wood, 2022 first-round pick, 2023 first-round pick, 2025 first-round pick. The Houston Rockets receive forward Zion Williamson. Now, to be fair, the Rockets are as good as candidates to broker a blockbuster for Williamson as any. As a franchise that has enjoyed consistent success in recent history, they'd love to accelerate their rebuild. An offense built around Williamson and Jalen Green would overwhelm opponents on a nightly basis. As for the Pelicans, they receive an interesting trade package here. Depending on who you talk to, Alperen Sengun is either a future superstar or a quality reserve. His blend of low post footwork and prodigious passing vision titillates. On the other hand, his slow feet and short arms lend themselves to concern about his defensive potential. But in the right person's hands, it could work out. You just need to have a little faith on the matter. Christian Wood is mainly here to make the money work. Still, the Pelicans could see potential in the 26-year-old. Questions about his character and defensive effort are prevalent. Still, he is one of the better stretch big men in the National Basketball Association. And if he's on the court, that almost makes him as valuable as Zion, given that Zion hasn't played all season for the Pelicans. The Pelicans also receive a nice return of draft capital here. It's less than what they're getting from the Knicks, but that might be better because they're getting people they can work with now versus hoping to work with them in the future. Whether they accept this deal or not likely boils down to their valuation of Sengun, so stay tuned. Number 2, Miami Heat. This one might surprise some of you. After all, the Miami Heat, despite injuries and inconsistencies this year, are the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference right now, and were in the NBA Finals a few seasons back in the bubble playoffs. So you might think that they'd be immune from wanting to make a high-profile deal. But are they? New Orleans Pelicans receive guard Tyler Hero, center Omar Yurtseven, guard forward Duncan Robinson, 2023 first-round pick, 2026 first-round pick, 2028 first-round pick. The Miami Heat receive forward Zion Williamson. Now this will come down to how highly the Pelicans front office is on Tyler Hero. At 22, the current 6th Man of the Year candidate still has star potential. At the same time, you'd have to be irrationally high on him to suggest he had the same ceiling as Zion Williamson. This is exactly why the Pelicans are again receiving draft capital here. They're also getting less of it than they do in the other packages. There are 2 reasons for that. The first one is that the Heat have fewer picks to spare. On the other hand, they're also giving up the young player with the most trade value in this piece in Hero. Yurtseven isn't a mere throw-in. This season, the 23-year-old rookie has been a pleasant surprise, averaging 15.2 points and 15.0 rebounds per 36 minutes. He has the potential to be a long-standing rotation player in the NBA. Robinson is mostly a salary matcher. Hero and Yurtseven both on modest rookie deals. The Pelicans are forced to eat his questionable contract in this exchange. He still flashed the potential to be an elite floor spacer in the NBA, even if he was having a down year in 2021-2022. But still, this trade is highlighted by Hero and 3 first-round picks from the Pelicans' perspective. If their asking price is a young star and draft capital, they will struggle to do much better. To be honest, this particular trade is going to be heavily rooted in what happens with the NBA playoffs that are going on right now. The Heat look strong in their first game of the first round, but if they reach the finals and fail again, or if they don't reach the finals despite being the #1 seed, the higher-ups, see Pat Riley, might feel that they need that extra piece to push them up to the top once again. Could that be Zion? Sure, if he's able to get on the court and stay healthy. But as we've said repeatedly throughout this list, that is the major issue. Number 1, Zion's health. Make no mistake, everything in terms of trades and non-trades will be focused on Zion Williamson and his health. When he is on the court, he's honestly very dominant. But when he's off the court, it tends to be for a long time. Just this season, the Pelicans said he would play in the first game, but he hasn't played all season. His injuries just don't heal well enough. And then there was the weight issue that also marred things. This is very reminiscent of the big man curse that has happened to players like Greg Oden over their careers. They seem like they'll be dominant players like players of old, but that's not always the case. No one wants Zion to have a short career, but we're in his 3rd NBA season, and he's just now only gotten past playing enough games to fill a single season. So now he could come into the playoffs if things go a certain way, see his 360 dunk during the Game 1 warm-ups, but the Pelicans could just want to preserve him so that if or when they trade him, they can prove he's ready. Only time will tell. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Zion Williamson, the Pelicans, and the trades that could happen if they decide to pull the trigger on such deals? Do you think that some of them are honestly fair trades? Do you think that these teams would honestly want to trade for Zion given his injuries? What do you think they'll do? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you next time on the channel.